Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. Real quick, we planned it this way, episode 8 on 8/8/18. Lots of 8s tonight. Hopefully it's magical for us and for you.
Or maybe
not. What is going on tonight, fellas?
Not much. Happy International Cat Day.
Well, as always, I have our host here, Ben Wilson, at our trading cards. We all have Stefan Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins, and myself, Big Shep, Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. And fellas, what's been up? How's our week been?
It's great.
It's been crazy. I finally got caught up on some of the Topps Chrome parallels after I was on a break last week. So, you know, there's a ton of them. I'm trying to complete 7 sets as we speak.
That's crazy. Steph, anything big for you this week?
Went to a Rangers game. Saw them lose horrifically. Turns out when you give up like 4 home runs to left center field, you don't tend to win. Got a Ted Williams bobblehead and a couple of mail days to report. So, it's been a pretty good week.
Well, that's outstanding. As you know, guys, I forgot this. As always, we are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you an smart and insightful podcast talking about trading card collecting. So, you always can follow us here on iTunes on YouTube at About the Cards. You can always listen to us later on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. So make sure you subscribe and review on all those platforms. Let us know how we're doing. And give us the feedback. We do appreciate it.
You're wrong, Ken.
Are we all good now, guys?
Yeah. I'm great. I'm better than Stefan has ever been or will ever be.
Well, guys, we have some. We need to go back last week to the week that was. We still need to cover Topps Living from 2 weeks ago because we didn't get the update during the National. And I hate to break it to all of our Topps Living fans, we didn't get the numbers yet for this past week. So, again, we're a week behind. I don't understand the first 19 weeks. They were just knocking it out back and forth, and they were on point and on time. And now 2 weeks in a row, they've dropped the ball on us. But let's get into it. So last week, 2 weeks ago, week 20, we added over 25,000 cards. Out of the first 20 weeks, it ranks number 7 and most cards sold. The reason was not number 58, Giancarlo Stanton, who sold 7,600, nor rookie Freddie Peralta, who only sold just shy of 5,000. But it was our friend, now card number 60, Pat Neshek, sold over 12,000, damn near 13,000 cards last week. And Pat alone, he tweeted me when it came out, that he might have had something to do with this. And said, Pat, how many did you buy? And he said, I purchased maybe around 8,000. And he showed a picture of like 6 boxes that had been delivered. So,
nope.
To Pat. And one that's going to be in my PC. One that's going to be, I bought 2 cards. So one that's going to be mine and then one that's going to head to Pat for an autograph. And guys, what do you think of those numbers for Pat?
I'm not entirely surprised, especially knowing that probably going into it, he was probably going to pick up a good bit of himself. And the hobby tends to show a little love to the people that show it love. So my only running joke would be how many do you think stay unsigned? Are we going to have a Bob Feller incident here?
A lot of it depends on how many Neshek puts into circulation. If he did, in fact, buy 8,000. Now, you know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we found out he was going to be released on the checklist. Was, you know, you really have 4 consumer demographics here. You have the Topps Living set collectors. You have Philadelphia Philly fans who are going to collect them for their personal PCs and you know, team collections. And then the third one that was going to kind of probably come in for the first time would be your through the mail collectors that are going to want to grab him because Neshek is so generous with his time as a fellow collector. And then the fourth one, which was going to be the caveat, the asterisk, which is going to be Pat Neshek himself. And that was going to be the big question: is how many is he going to purchase to falsely inflate that number? Did he buy 8,000? I mean, that's what he said. You know, we take him for his word. unless he was being facetious. But he's always going to be the outlier with the fact that he's pulling from 4, or this particular card is going to pull from 4 different consumer demographics. So it's kind of interesting. I honestly thought 13 might have been a little light, but good for him. It's a great card, great looking card. And, again, Pat is a fantastic part of our card collecting community. So I'm glad for him.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I think I'm having a little technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Unfortunately.
I'm sorry about that. It sucks when technology doesn't work the way you want. So a little sorry about that. But yeah, it's great to see Pat do that. Last week was week 21. We're still waiting to hear how Francisco Lindor, Andrew Benintendi, and rookie Austin Meadows did. And a little sneak preview to some of our future topics, but in the Topps Q&A at the National, they said that they released that list a day early due to Meadows being traded to the Rays, and they wanted everybody to know that, hey, this was already coming out. The trade kind of put a kerfuffle in it, and there's no in the works of getting Meadows updated in a Rays jersey. Everything's going to come out as a Pirate. So one last rookie card, at least live card there, I guess, for him as a Pirate. Maybe a few more to come. So hopefully next week we'll be able to update week 21 and also this week 22, which we'll announce here shortly. Also, too, as been alluded to, Topps Chrome was out last week. We also have Panini Immaculate Baseball, Panini Elements Football. One more basketball release from 17-18 with Panini Noir, and also Leafs Greatest Hits Basketball. So some good releases there. We spent quite a bit of time on last week. We're going to hop into hot off the presses this week's new releases, just a few. The Topps Living set for this week that was announced this morning was card number 64 is going to be Hall of Fame second baseman of the Chicago Cubs, Ryan Sandberg. He's the third Cub that's come out. We also have card number 65, outfielder of the Oakland A's, rookie, Dustin Fowler, who's down in Nashville, correct?
That is correct. As of August 1st.
And then card number 66 is, at one time, hobby phenom, Los Angeles Dodgers outfielder Yasiel Puig, who's the fourth Dodger. And real quick, Fowler was the fourth A. Where's my second Royal or my second
twin?
Or the second twin?
The Giants have only been around forever.
Yeah.
So if you're going to rush out Meadows for the trade deadline, where's my Brian Dozier?
Oh, how's that feel?
Who Dozier should have been. That's the thing, is Dozier should be a twin if they're going to ever release him.
Nope.
So I guess you'll have to wait for when he becomes a Hall of Famer or something. Something.
Yep. So it's a pretty decent week. I mean, you have the Dodgers, and there you have the Cubs. So it's going to sell a few, especially with the Hall of Famer and the rookie again this week. We see that those always tend to do pretty well. Also, the big Topps release this week was Topps 2018 Clearly Authentic Baseball. Came out today. It's about $55 a box. You're going to get one pack per box, one card. You're going to get one encased autograph with their Clearly Authentic sticker on it. It uses several of the 2018 Series 1 designs as the main feature. It's an on-card auto. New this year is there's going to be a Clearly Authentic Salute autograph card that mirrors the Topps Salute design. And then also Clearly Authentic MLB Awards autograph that mirrors the MLB Awards design one that they have in Series 1. There's inserts. There's like 7 parallels that start at 99 and end at 1. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but lots of color. Saw a few breaks of this. It's shiny chrome. I mean, it's clear you can see through it. I don't know how I feel about it. It's probably something I'm not going to go be wild about.
Did you buy any last year? Did you buy any last year?
No.
I was on the fence about it last year. They had the 1986 Jose Canseco, 87 McGuire, which I would love to pick one up if one ever comes up for sale again. But I picked up the Matt Olson and the Jarrell Cotton, for the A's collection, and they're kind of neat. I mean, they're not like the signature series, which, again, is like a through the mail. These are neat. I mean, they're the acetate, they're see-through. Maybe not for everybody. Definitely not something I personally would pay $55 for. I just don't think there's enough return on a per pack basis. But if you're a player guy or a team guy, they're a neat collection, whether you keep them encased or not. I would definitely implore all of the collectors out there listening to, hey, at least go look up your favorite team or your favorite players who are listed on the checklist and see what you think. If a lot of these guys can be had for, are already $25 or less on buy it nows with best offers. So it's a neat product if you're a hit collector. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely not something that if you haven't seen one in person, you're probably not going to appreciate it, honestly.
Right. I mean, looking at the checklist, it kind of looks like a knockoff all-time fan favorites, the set that Topps used to do. Some of the players aren't the greatest, and I mean, if that's your thing, hey, go for it. But I mean, I have better uses for my money in a set. I know I'm just maybe I'm just not the hit collector type, but for those that are, check it out.
If you got a $20 bill laying around, you can get a lot of value out of that, I think, on the secondary market. And again, if you haven't seen one in person, if you have a local card shop, if you go to a card show, Tim, if you haven't seen one in person, I'll have to show you one next time we get together because they're neat. Again, not for everybody.
Well, the thing is they don't have the cool ones like they had last year. They're just using any stuff Series 1 designs in there.
Yeah.
And for $55, you're probably like better off looking in the secondary market when they're not getting, you're not even 50% return on what you purchased. It just doesn't. I don't know. It didn't really excite me.
I don't think it's going to be a product we're going to see again. Maybe one more year. But that's the thing is, again, I as an A's fan and collector, I mentioned they did the 86 Canseco. I don't think he's on the checklist this year, but McGuire is. I don't know if they're planning on having him. He's listed. I haven't seen one yet. Quite a few of the other players have already populated. I'm assuming they're going to be low numbered. My question is he going to be, on a Cardinal card? Is it going to be your 85 USA card? Because you can't do 87 again. So that's going to be your most desirable card. Yeah. And that's going to be the problem is once you've done that rookie card, what do you got for these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, also 2018 Panini Donruss football released today. I know that some of it was open to the National. There were some special National breakers packs that were being handed out if you were in those breaks. But $72 a box. You're getting 24 packs, 10 cards a pack. In a box break, you're going to get one auto and one mem card. You're going to get 24 rookies. You're going to get 24 rated rookies. The difference being the rated rookies are more of the high-end draft picks, quarterbacks, running backs, those early round picks. There are some running backs, quarterbacks in the rookies, but they're not. They're usually the unsigned guys or they're 6th and 7th rounders. You're getting 40 inserts. You're getting 8 parallels, a 400-card base set, multi-color parallels. There's 20 autograph sets in there. A couple of my favorite were the inducted autograph set, which had 4 of the new Hall of Famers, which were Brian Urlacher, Brian Dawkins, Randy Moss, and Jerry Kramer. You also had Canton King's relic autograph sets, which is a bunch of Hall of Famers. And then you had my favorite, my boy, Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life autograph set. I sent him a little tweet today. He liked it. So, I got Neshek. I got Matt Berry on my side. Big Shep's famous. I'm just letting you guys know right now.
I tweeted to Joan Osborne. Saying, if she was a slob like one of us, and she said only on laundry day. She responded to me. That happened. Okay? So
nobody knows who Joan Osborne is. It's not 1996 anymore.
1998, baby. Just check it out.
There are 10 memorabilia sets. A couple of highlights there with the rookie threads. The Passing the Torch set, which was cool. That had like Bradley Chubb and Von Miller was a cool one. And then Changing Stripes set, which was neat. Like Matt Forte was the Bears, and it had also a Jets jersey. And there were a bunch of different ones on there, just a couple that caught my eye. I saw some breaks of this. It's the basic Donruss look. It's got a bunch of cards in it. It basically is I would say, consider it, besides Score, it's their flagship that has them in their rookie uniforms. Score has them in their college uniforms. at a good buy, good, $72, good break. You're getting a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, 1
Thoughts?
second.
Benjamin?
$72 is a good price point. I mean, in today's market, anytime you get to that $70 to $90 range on average for what would be considered a flagship, it's a solid. I'm a big Donruss fan. Love Donruss all through the 80s and the first part of the 90s while I was still collecting baseball cards. All these retro ones that are coming out now for baseball. If I collected football, Donruss would be at the top. I'm not a big score fan.
Yeah.
But Donruss, I wish Panini could get a Donruss license for baseball. But yeah, if I was collecting in football, I'd be all over this product, especially at $72. I'm sure there's plenty of value. And it's that age old question: how much value do you have to get in a box in order for it to be worth it?
Yeah, no, and I think for $72, I mean that's a most boxes are running almost 100 now, and they have some good looking cards in there this year. I think it's going to be a good break. Also, too, new thing that came out and it launched today, but it's currently sold out. 2018 Topps Allen and Ginter X, $70 on Topps Direct only. Last time I looked, it was sold out. It's an 18-pack box, 8 cards per pack. What is happening here? It's one exclusive Ginter X Black Parallel autograph per box. It's the standard base and mini set from Allen Ginter, but in black with exclusive reds and silver mini base parallels. So it's the same 350 card checklist, and it just has black. I know, Ben, you just finished up your mini set from last year. Good looking cards if you like the Allen and Ginter design. Just adds a different color. I always love black cards, but they chip. These guys seem to look pretty good, and I think they're going to hold up well.
And the reds, I bought a red parallel, which are numbered out of 5 or 3, I can't remember. The reds are very, very pretty. 2017. I'm very excited for this. One thing to keep in mind with the minis, I had spoke with Brent Williams last year saying, hey, let me have a team set and a mini set, and he goes, that's not going to happen. He goes, I'll sell you a team set. That's fine. He goes, but the minis are more or less print run around 100. And I said, I'll just try to grab them on Sport Lots. He goes, that might not happen either. He goes, the odds of many of these hitting, I was able to complete the mini set from last year. I believe there was 12 cards in the set total. I was missing 6, and they on average cost me about $3 to $4. So I finally pulled the trigger while they were still available. So for anybody out there that is looking to complete either a team set or get player cards, definitely don't wait. We talked about that a few episodes back. When you should buy cards, should you wait? This is not one of those. The base cards probably will be around, but if you're looking for the minis or any of the red or silver parallels, even the autos, grab them now as they populate. Even if you end up overpaying, if that's your guy or that's your team. I'm really speaking to myself. You're going to have to just bite the bullet. It's a limited product, and it's not going to be around forever.
Yeah, and I mean, exactly. It's a gorgeous looking set. It's plain parallel. Basically, it's essentially a parallel base set of regular Topps Allen and Ginter. And I definitely agree on the minis. Good luck finding them afterwards because I've looked. But, if you know somebody who's breaking them, can hold them aside for you, hey, hit them up definitely soon. Ginter's one of those sets where you either like it or you don't. Some people don't like the oddball stuff, but this is one to check out at least.
It's a great set. We've talked about this before, along with Heritage and Gypsy, for people that like to get cards in person or through the mail because the card stock is phenomenal for that.
What they should have is base.
Yeah, so if that's your cup of tea, you like to go to the game and get autographs, Allen and Ginter is a great team set to pick up. They hold the autographs very well.
Yeah, really nice. The last real new release this week is 2018 Leaf Flash Football. It's supposed to come out Friday, running $100. It's a 1-pack per box, 5 cards per pack. You're getting 5 autographs. And so what this is Leaf is displaying its new flash technology, utilizing a captivating shine, so kind of like a chrome look to it. Multiple colors in the parallel rainbow that they're going to offer. It's going to be a lot of the top offensive rookie talent this year from this year's draft class. But you're also going to have these flashback inserts celebrating football legends. For example, Jerry Rice, Terry Bradshaw. There's a lot of Hall of Fame players and former Heisman winners. They're going to be in this. Leaf doesn't have the logos. The images are just going to be, those are going to be eliminated. But it looks, from what I've seen, the little mock-ups they have look pretty nice. It's just interesting, to see them release a product like this at this point in time. Usually they haven't done anything like this in the past that I can remember. With veterans and rookies in there. Most of the time it's just the rookies or some buyback stuff for veterans. But they always have a different look on it, and they're always hit-based. So,
well, and these kind of look like what Topps did in 2011 or so with the cognac and silver emerald parallels, but with like a 90s Panini Dufex foil type whatnots. Now, obviously, this would be different if I could see them in hand, but just from the mock-up designs, that's kind of what they look like.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with these photos. You see the Rice there. It's a head-on shot. So you get all the uniform. You just don't get the San Francisco logos on his helmet, but you don't see that. You see him face forward. With Bradshaw, it shows him from one side, but I believe that's the side of the Steeler helmet that does not have a logo. So they only wear it on one side. And the rookies, the same thing. They're head-on shots, so you're not missing out. You're getting the college colors. It looks like the picture should, not like it's missing something. So,
well, with a non-licensed product, how you can manipulate the photos is all, like I said, a head-on shot. You're showing the logos; they're ever present. They're just not visible. Just like when Panini did Cooperstown a few years back, and they put a lot of players in black and white. I'm good with that. You don't need a logo in black and white for the deceased players. These legend players. I thought it was brilliant. It was a way to manipulate the presentation and create a presentable look without having the logo present to kind of aid that. So for people that have issues with the non-license, it's a great way, to kind of give them a different look, despite that.
Yeah. And the last release this week really isn't a release at all, but it's Topps National Baseball Card Day Saturday. So what this is you can head to a participating local store on Saturday, August 11th, pick up a free 5-card pack of National Baseball Card exclusive cards. There's one player from each team, and you will get a chance to get an autographed card that are randomly inserted in packs. There's 25, I think it was, autographed cards in there. And there's also an extra opportunity to get an additional Aaron Judge special gift with any $10 Topps purchase. Last year, it was 29 card set, and the Mike Trout was if you made a purchase. So basically, this year it's going to be 31 with a Judge. And the fun doesn't stop there, according to Topps, because on August 25th, you can head back to your local shop to pick up another gift, a Reese Hoskins card with a $10 purchase. We're going to have up to 32 cards, which is pretty cool. And they're asking to share the images on social media for a chance to win prizes that day, and to make sure to use the hashtag Topps Baseball Card Day. So we'll make sure that we do that. I'm going to get out to the local LCS, pick up a pack. I'll do a purchase always, right? You got to make a purchase, and I will tweet those out to everybody. And some great fun. I did this last year. Did you guys participate?
Story for another time. We tried to. We hit up one store and had a horrible experience. Went to another, and they overcompensated for us.
Oh wow!
Hearing our story. So
go back. So like let's share the experience.
So one of our stores, run by an older man, a little bit high on his prices. Otherwise, a great store, whole ton of product. We get to the store, and he says that he only has one pack left when me and my wife enter the store. Okay, fine, maybe, sure. We did enter towards the end of the day. Believable. open my pack just fine. 2 kids come in, and he hands out extra packs to them.
Nice.
Now, look, if you want to say it's 1 per group, sure, but don't lie to me just because you think my wife's only in the store and doesn't know what she's talking about, which we confirmed with someone else that that's what had happened. That's how you don't get Tops to renew your contract. And Angela had a long talk with someone at Tops. I'm sure you guys can imagine who. That it's not how you bring in the female market. It's not how you bring in kids. That's not how it's supposed to be. The second shop we went to, hey, sure, you bought your $10 worth. Here's 2 extra trouts for your trouble. The extra promo pack card.
I can appreciate what the second LCS did. The issue with the first LCS is now kind of piggybacking on a conversation I had with some fellow collectors earlier on Twitter is now you have to question all their ethics if they're willing to literally lie to your face. It's like, are you weighing packs? Are you getting hits out of packs and then selling the rest, knowing that there's nothing in there?
Dead box.
I mean, you start to question everything. I had the LCS here locally that the Otani Superfractor from Bowman was pulled out of. I went to buy a couple packs of Heritage years ago, and it was a purple hot box, and he sold me 2 packs and said he was going to keep the rest for himself because he wanted it. And I'm like, let me buy a couple more packs. Let me buy the box. No, I'm good. Like, really? Cool. Yeah, Never saw him again.
Yeah, that's definitely a bigger discussion that we want to have later on, about hobby shops. And definitely there I think there's a spectrum. There's really good hobby shops. From what there's one I have. I'm very lucky that I think I have a really good hobby shop here 10 minutes from my house. And then on the other end, there's really, really bad ones. And the in-between's kind of not there anymore. And, just from what I'm hearing and from other collectors.
That's a reflection of society. You have the upper class and you have the lower class. People are like, oh, I'm middle class. Really? As an economist, I would challenge anybody that says there's a middle class anywhere in America anymore. You either have money or you don't. And you're either not living paycheck to paycheck or you are. There's no in between.
Yep.
My next missed paycheck is the ball game for my family, as it is, I'm sure, yours.
I still my dancing career.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I would buy you. I will be there in the front row with my dollar bills.
Hey, the family show. We try. Let's move on to what's brewing. What's next week's releases, guys? I hope you have some time here. It's a long list. 2018 Panini Unparalleled Football, and if my mind serves me, last year there were quite a few parallels in this set. And then also 2017-18 Panini Crown Royal Basketball. More 17-18 Panini Basketball.
I'm just waiting for them to come out with the 03-04 basketball.
Yeah, the lost set.
Yeah, that was such a good year. Let's just bring it back.
How about 86, 87 Fleer Lost in a Warehouse set? Guys, that's it. That was the list. So just a couple next week. We'll probably cover a little bit of the National Baseball Card Day. I think I'd like to get more into that. I think it's a great idea. And it was one that was spawned from, I want to say, the Insiders event that's held in February, the
Industry Summit
in Vegas a couple of years ago. And there's a gentleman that kind of had the idea, Mike, from Mike's Stadium Club Cards and out of Colorado. Ben knows him very well. He had the idea, and they worked, with Tops, and Tom Fish said that he shut down last year. He shut down his site for the day. For those who don't know, he runs Blowout Cards. They shut down their site and had an ad that said, "Go to your local hobby shop and support this day." Interesting story on him. We'll talk here in a minute. But I want to move on to Infield Chatter, our little hobby talk section. We're going to kind of go into a handful of topics here tonight. And I do apologize. The show runs a little over an hour. There's some really good topics this week. And I I do want to have some conversation about those. So the final notes, we're putting to bed the National that ended on Sunday. As we pine to be there one year and go and experience it, I just want to cover some of the neat things that came out, some of the news and notes. But one, it was they said it was one of the most attended Nationals in recent history. They sold out of all the VIP passes, which to some was unheard of that they could actually do that, which is kind of crazy. There are people that got to take a photo with the Bowman Superfractor Shohei Ohtani live here in Sacktown by a guy that shops at my LCS, which is kind of cool. It was graded a 9.510 auto. I guess he didn't get a deal worked out with the blowout because everybody was saying it was going to be going up to auction. So we'll keep an eye on that. The Wi-Fi and cell phone service, not so great in the IX Center. Reportedly in the Breakers area, they could not stream. And if you could, you were very lucky. There was reports that as a whole, the Breakers section was losing around $300,000 a day, not being able to break. And now see, those numbers could be skewed if it was the whole show or just the Breakers Pavilion. But they couldn't even break via their cell phone because the cell service was not really great in the center there. And also sellers couldn't run credit cards.
Which is a bigger problem. I really don't have any sympathy for Breakers.
Well, I'm just saying though, but if the Wi-Fi doesn't work for the Breakers, it's not working for the guys trying to check their checklist that might be online. So I have to look and see what the market is for those cards. They were kind of stuck in the Stone Ages. And then if you're a seller and you spend all that money and capital to get all your product out there, to get you and your employees out there to set up, and you're not able to sell or run credit cards.
Big deal on the show floor.
Mm-hmm.
And your return on sales is got to be heavily impacted, and maybe it doesn't affect the average collector who's there with his checklist. But I would be toast because I would have had everything on a tablet.
Yeah, and my thing is I heard ATMs there, they will run out, and as the Loefflers reported, they do run out of cash at some point in time.
Pretty quickly, yep.
Yeah, so I bet there's a big run there. So, kind of a downer there. I heard Chicago's a lot better. Hopefully Cleveland can figure it out, as the internet is really important to this hobby and the way people are sharing what's going on in there. And that kind of explains, I didn't see as many videos and photos as I thought I was going to see over the weekends.
Or Periscope running.
Yeah, or Periscope, yeah. And I didn't know this, but I also heard that there's breakers that break live on Instagram.
That's new.
That's strange. A story that was brought to our attention that's gotten some pub, which is, hey, thank you very much. I want to say, God, it makes me feel great that there are people in the hobby that are like, hey, get this story out. I'm going to go to About the Cards podcast and let them know. They can get this out to the hobby, and I want to say thank you very much. If you guys have something that you want us to talk about and share, we're not shilling for anybody. We're not sponsored. We're not any of that stuff. We're going to get out there and get in front of stuff. So let us know. But this is about the Prism Dak Prescott. If everybody remembers the auto pen fiasco that Panini and had with Dak, there was the purple scope auto, and Stacy at Slim Solo tweeted out that a friend of hers had this Dak Prescott autograph. It was a purple Prism out of 99. And I'm going to pull up the tweet here. It was pretty interesting what happened when they took it to Panini. This is her tweet. Walked into the Panini America booth at the show at the National to get a replacement auto pen, and they won't honor it. Claimed they guaranteed isn't valid because they were stolen. Threw their hands up and said it's not their responsibility. Wait 3 hours in line for horrible customer service. So a little bit of insight, from what I've been able to gather, is that a friend of Dak's might have stolen these cards from Dak. And there's a note here from About the Cards. Panini is claiming this is from the bunch that were never returned to them. So someone in Dak's camp might have gotten online and tried to sell them. Now, Stacy was saying that her friend pulled it. Maybe her friend's not being super honest. Another collector at Joe Reed 77 said the reason they won't honor it is there's an eBay listing with 8 of these purple scopes without the autograph on them. The one in Stacy's photo had it. Panini's not doing anything, hasn't stepped up to say anything. I think it still rings back to how they let these auto pin cards get out in the first place, and then the whole deal with Beckett. Just a whole bad story brought back up.
Right.
But what do you guys think? What would you have done if you're working the Panini booth that day, and this card comes up and she's hooting and hollering in front of all these customers of yours?
Well,
what would you do?
So there's a couple facets to it with the National in particular. One, I know several of the companies hire people specifically to work the booth that weekend. They get a standard set of instructions about how to handle issues, or, hey, here, just rip open the box, hand them a pack. Rip open the box so for the pack redemptions, etc. I'm not saying that she didn't talk to the higher-ups. I personally said, hey, go talk to Tracy Hackler. See what he can do. If anyone's going to be able to resolve it, if the issue is legit, go talk to them. Regarding it being pulled or being sold from the Dak Prescott conference, my question is, why wait this long? This came out last year. Now, yeah, Stacy's a huge name, and maybe her friend doesn't want to be out there. But you could send it any of the other months in between when this came out right after the National last year till now. Why wait until now to bring it up? Now, I get that it's National, and yeah, you have access to everybody at Panini and everybody at Beckett that screwed this up. But, and she, as far as I'd seen, hadn't mentioned whether she got any resolution from the Panini guys.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that either.
Maybe it was something that they slid underneath the thing of, hey, don't mention this publicly, but here's something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, all about the cards mentioned here that he believes they were redemptions in the product, and I believe that's true. And they were Dak was a redemption in that product, so I don't know how it was pack pulled because those autographs were redemptions. My thing is if you have I work customer service and retail for a long time. If you have an upset customer, you bring them away from everybody else, and you work a side deal with them, and you tell them to shut the hell up and in nicer terms and fix the problem.
As somebody who used to teach, I used to teach sales classes. The first thing I would have asked is, all right, first off, I don't know what her level of anger was, excitement. The first thing is, what would you like me to do for you? Doesn't mean I can. Just simply ask, all right, you have a Dak Prescott card that there's an issue surrounding, a well-known issue. Okay, what can I do for you? And let her propose, I want this card replaced. Okay, we cannot do that, and here's why. Okay, now let's find the next solution. Quit looking at the problem. Let's find the solution. Okay, what if I give you 2 boxes of cards valued at $200 retail? Would that, appease the situation? Would that satisfy you? However, you're going to have to give me the Dak Prescott card so I can thus take it out of circulation. Yeah. That's the key. Now it's our possession. We're going to have to confiscate it. You're going to have to, allow us to take that. And then, there's a linear line that a lot of companies teeter on is, if Panini's drawn this line of it's not our responsibility, we're doing nothing, that's the wrong position to have. Is it your responsibility legally? Maybe not. Okay, but ethically it is. It's still your product. It's still a representation of the products you release. Now it's your job to take these cards. Once again, just like, I don't want to trump on anything that Top said in the Q&A, but there was a question about boxes where there's issues where they require you to bring a receipt and UPC. You go to your local Walmart or Target, they want your receipt, or they'll give you in-store credit as a way to cover some of their losses in the event that there's theft. It basically covers them. Hey, give me the Dak Prescott, and I will give you equal value, whether that's through the Panini website or a product value of say $150, and slowly you'll get them all out of circulation.
Yeah. So my thing here, I mean, it's brought up, in the chat here, that's a legal issue and that these cards were quote stolen. There's some things that happen and you don't want to set a precedent for other people to come up with fake cards. If I'm the one that has that card and there's none out there like it and has a story behind it like this, I want to keep that card.
Right.
Because at some point in time, it's going to be one of those like Billy Ripken it's going to be that oddball, card that there's only a handful out there in circulation, and who knows, kind of like the end of the time when people dumped when companies closed and things were thrown in the trash or they left with employees and later came onto the market. I think we talked about this when Panini first or playoff Donruss closed down the first time. And
yeah, there was a coin. I'm not a coin collector, so I apologize, but there was something made out of the mint like around 1918. I could be way off on the years, but it was, about 100 or so years ago. There was a specific coin that had been made the year before, and it was not going to go into circulation the following year. And when an employee was let go, he made a handful, like 4 or 5 for his own personal collection of, say, 1918. And that was it. Well, those cards are fraudulent. They're not guaranteed by the U.S. Treasury. However, amongst collectors, even though they're a known, fraud, they're very sought after because the coin still exists. The backstory, same reason with the Honus Wagner card being trimmed. It's still the Gretzky card. You still want that one, even though we know that it has been physically altered. It's the same thing. In this case, I'm not buying the Dak Prescott certified auto. I can go buy one right now that I know is 100% legitimate. I'm buying the story with it because now I have one of those cards that were erroneously autoed with the auto pen or stolen or whatever, the ultimate truth behind that situation is I have one in my possession.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat. And whether or not it ever has a monetary value, like, Prescott's kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit. I don't know what his current value is. But I believe it was considerably higher at the time that all happened. It's a story. That's what I want.
Well, his value's dropped because he's not good at quarterback.
He's not good, but
he can't throw the football. I mean, he can run it. He can't really throw it.
But that card will always hold, much like the Billy Ripken, and so many other ones. It's going to hold a certain lore around it.
Yeah, it's a cool story.
But hey, if you're one of those people that did end up with one, however you got it, Panini should stand by and say, look, hey, we'll give you, a box of,
Donruss football.
50, Donruss football, right? $72 box, and we'll give you a $50 credit on our website.
Or
that's
something.
The best.
They had a bunch of free. They have a bunch of free packs they're giving out too. I mean, it is what it is. It's just one of those things like, oh man, this story comes back up, and it was a bad thing in the beginning, and they didn't really say anything for so long. I don't want to drudge all that back up, but if you go back and read the stories and the articles people posted and some of the other podcasts at the time that talked about it, Panini was awfully silent for a long time. And this is what pointed me to when they started taking over football in 2016. I wasn't a huge fan. This happens. It was one of those things that kind of put another nail in the coffin for me to collect their product in football.
What's funny is I'm wearing a Spurs hat for those that aren't watching us. I'm a huge Spurs fan. Kawhi Leonard. All this stuff surrounding Kawhi, just come out. Use your words, sir. You say how you're feeling. I don't want to play for the San Antonio Spurs anymore. I would like to play closer to home. I want to go to LA. Say that. Or say, hey, I do want to play for San Antonio. All the stuff coming out is the media. Same thing. Panini was silent.
Yeah.
So it's going to make you look worse, much like Kawhi Leonard and a lot of other things, that we can all point to. It's going to make Panini look worse because you didn't come out and you didn't get in front of the story, and you let all the collectors and all the bloggers and blowout cards forum and stuff. You let that dictate the direction of the story. That is absolutely the worst thing you can do if you take a media class ever. That's 101.
Get in front of the story.
Get in front of it. That way you dictate it. Even if it's negative, you control it to a certain degree.
Stand up there, answer all the. You know what? It brings us back, Ben, to one of our favorite shows, Arnold Vinnick, and the nuclear plant. Right? He stood up there and took all those questions, and did the dead man thing where he did the dead man press conference from West Wing. You take all the questions all at one time, answer them, tire out the reporters, tire out everybody, and then you move on. And that's what they missed out here. We don't know. We don't know if this was settled. I didn't see anything that if it was or not. I would love to know. So somebody let us know if this got settled with them and Stacy and her friend or whatever.
Two words: complete transparency. That's all it comes down to.
Clearly authentic information.
That's right.
Yes. Also, too, some good news that came out of the National. So, for any of those guys that watch vintage breaks, I like to hop. See, I don't hop into their breaks. Can't. But they have some awesome breaks where they open unopened wax and packs from the past. They opened up a 1955 Topps Cello pack, which I believe is 22 cards, maybe 24. It was $500 a spot. And one of the spots, the guy got a 1955 Mickey Mantle.
Did Vintage Breaks ruin the card in the process of handling it?
They did not. It graded out a 9, PSA 9.
Mm-hmm.
I watched. They had a really interesting break that Darren Ravel was present for a couple months back.
87 Fleer basketball,
and they pulled 3 Jordans out of it. It was a fantastic break, but the guy who looks like Vince Vaughn, I don't know the guy's name.
Yeah, he has the big eye. He gets all excited. His eyes pop out of his head.
He's opening these cards and he's popping them. Pow, pow. And I'm just like, oh, dear Lord. I mean, it was $2,200 a spot.
He was not the one opening this. It was one of the other guys. He was standing behind him, I guess, blue.
When he opens them, he pops those cards. I'm just like, if you're not familiar with that 86, 87 Fleer set, there are so many cards. Magic, Kareem, Malone. There are so many cards in that set outside of Jordan that if they grade well, even some of the commons that were the throwaway bicycle spoke type cards, if they grade well, they're still $1,200, $1,500. So if you're if you're buying into a spot at $2,200 or whatever ridiculous amount it was, and you didn't get the Jordan because you were getting the whole pack, and I think it was like $65,000 or $70,000 for the box, and so you're getting the entire pack. Man, that pack is still valuable because if you grade that entire pack, you're still probably going to be awful close to $2,200.
And those stickers too.
Yeah, dude was snapping it, and I was like, "Oh boy!"
Yeah, I watched that. I damn near killed my phone that afternoon, watching that at work, and then on my way home listening to it. Yeah, and they even let Ravel open up a pack, I believe. I just real quick side point. I like the guy, but every once in a while, I kind of like to slap him. He does these Periscope videos where he opens up like old wax, like junk wax, and he's trying to guess the player. Man, half the time I'm guessing it before. And it's fun to go back and see, but he's tossing the cards, he's doing it one-handed, and it's like, Anyway, I know it's 91 Fleer, but hey, at least show the cards a little respect. Moving on, so
especially when they're not yours.
Yeah,
especially when they do not belong. I've seen so many guys. Yeah, I'm gonna take my cell phone here and tap it on my thing where you kind of tap it to get it to go lower into the top loader.
Right.
Some guys are just so tough and they're just banging them, and I'm just like, I can hear that down the hallway.
Yeah,
that's my card. That's your card. That doesn't belong to you, Mr. Breaker. That does not give me confidence that you're am I going to get my cards next day in the mail and they're going to all have ding corners because you're not inciting any level of confidence in me whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, so and for an example, not all of the cards from that pack were going to be PSA 9s, but I looked it up for a Washington Senator because for that set, they're practically the low rung of players. They're not the Willie Mays. They're not the Mickey Mantles. They're not the high-end players. There's a PSA 8 that sold for just under $100. So, yeah, you're not going to get your $200 back if you bought into that. But the one person who got the one Mickey Mantle, yeah, it's a huge story.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was also in that pack an Ernie Banks.
Oof, nice.
Yeah.
But then again, it's one of those things, too. The people that are buying into that, there's people that can afford Topps Transcendent, and there's people that can't.
Yeah.
The people that people are dropping $500 on a spot have $500 laying around. Those are the people that are going to go throw $500 on a roll of the dice on a craps table, or a spin of a roulette table. That's not us. That's not most of the people listening. We're the average collectors. But yeah, I don't care if it's $100 card. Treat it with respect. It's still mine. It belongs to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, moving on. There was also the Topps Q&A from the National, and I think it's a limited, invite or to get in. Around 150 people or so. Is that how it works?
So this year they capped it at 150, but normally what would happen is on the first few days of the show, you'd go talk to the Topps booth and ask, "Hey, can I put my name down for the Topps Q&A?" And that's all it would take.
Yeah.
So this year, I guess they capped it at 150, and I heard like the first day they'd had like 60 or so people already pre-registered, either because they're vendors, they're distributors, or whatnot, or media people. I know Beckett had Cracknell there, and in the past, several of the other people have attended, including Sports Cards Radio and several of the other major breaker groups. But that's kind of how it was run. Signed the lenders. Oh, right, Lindors.
Yeah. So everybody that went got a signed Lindor card, but so I got to watch the full hour or so video. And that's courtesy of Sports Card News. Ryan Tenards was there, and he did a live or he videoed it and shared it on YouTube on Sports Card Radio's YouTube page. So if you want to go check that out, it's great. We'll send a tweet out after the show, a link to the video. And they have it's awesome because they go through and answer all the questions, and there's also some giveaways and stuff in there that they did, a little trivia. But they mentioned the hobby's grown the last few years, and they report that their hobby shop partners are doing well, and the retail partners are doing well, and their direct to consumer products are up this year. And I think Topps Living has to be a big part of that, with also with Topps Now and some of the other direct sets that they've made. They're working on bringing new collectors into the hobby. That was just a general statement. And what I thought was interesting is Clay, who's one of the more, I guess, visible figures from Topps, said all the employees collect like collectors. He said his first national was 87. He was chasing the 87 McGuire.
Saw that, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They might have cards, but I don't believe all of their employees are as involved. Maybe the guys that that are in the brand management, and maybe in Sousa's role with like the media part of it are, but I thought that was interesting. They want to make more experiences to collectors, like the Transcendent Party, and also so that's the very high end, and now on the very low end through Big League Baseball, there's 3 opportunities out there in Big League Baseball for kids to throw out a first pitch in a major league game. And they're working to create and improve on the 2008 products for 2019.
2018, not 2008.
That's what, yeah. There we go. A lot of 8s today. A lot of technical problems and a lot of 8s today. They said they're willing to take any and all questions. They were going to be clearly authentic, and they were going to answer all. So I kind of want to get some of these and get your thoughts. So somebody asked,
they've done that in the past too, where anything's on them.
Well, hey, I like that. Hey, let's get out there. This is the time. If you want to hammer us. And there was one lady that said, "Hey, I just want to say thank you for it was like releasing Topps Chrome before the National," and she gave some praise and didn't really have a question, but just wanted to thank Topps, which hey, that's cool. Here we go. Let's see.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, nice looking
product.
Yep, great looking cards. So the first one is, there was a question is releases. There's been a bunch of releases bunched together, and the response was they're trying to limit the number of redemptions, and they said it's better to have a cluttered calendar than to have more redemptions and products.
Completely disagree.
Well,
let my wallet breathe just a little bit. Spread them out just a hair. I mean, even a week apart.
God, I hate agreeing with Stefan. I hate that.
I mean, even Disney does it. And any of their movies cannot be produced and released in the same month as any other Disney movie.
Yeah.
Now, that's a little absurd for baseball card products when the season's, 6-7 months long? But, I mean, maybe they could go the Panini route and have 2017 products still being produced this week.
Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Redemptions are going to be a necessary evil so long as you're relying on active players, because you just said it, 6 or 7 months worth of a season, and you're asking for these players to take time out of their busy schedules while they're traveling and whatnot. Didn't the Yankees end a game the other night at 1 a.m. and then arrived at the next city at 6 a.m. and had a game 12 hours later. I mean, you expect Aaron Judge and Stanton and to sit down and sign cards. You know,
they're not getting paid thousands of dollars to sign these cards.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's pennies compared to what they have, and you're asking them to sign, countless base cards and then 499 parallels and 250 and 150 and before you know it's 3,000 signatures and redemptions are frustrating, but most players will get around to signing them.
Right.
Most collectors will wait it out. Granted, for the people that are looking to flip, immediately rip and flip, but let's ask Brent Williams, are you getting less money for the Shohei Ohtani because it's not live?
But hold on, I want to be devil's advocate here. Well, what if I buy the box 3 years from now?
And redemption's expired.
Yeah. And so the question was asked, why do redemptions expire? And they came back and said redemption cards have expiration date due to storage restrictions at Topps.
Yeah, well, that may be the case. But there was also another part that you left out because they said that I think most collectors over the last year or two who received a redemption probably got an extra card in there as a Topps' way of saying thanks for waiting. And they said that they use those, like the ones that had kind of timed out. They would throw in, they would give them away in charities. They'd even destroy them. And it's like, you're going to destroy cards that may still have live redemptions. I get there's a finite amount of space. There's a finite amount of resources that are at their disposal.
I'm just saying, like, there just has to be a better way. And I understand. I much rather have a little more of a colored calendar, and it's not been too horrible this year, but to save a little bit on the redemptions. That's just me. Somebody asked if Bunt was coming out this year. They said no, it's been replaced this year by Topps Big League for that price point.
Which is unfortunate because Bunt was pretty last year.
Yeah, but I think Big League's a good product too.
So
I think Bunt was kind of, it was a neat product, but was kind of hokey because it was like, are these the same cards as the digital version on the app?
It was hard to buy on eBay. It was hard to buy on eBay because of the digital and physical. You had to have physical in the title.
Right. Yeah.
I had to email a couple of sellers asking, am I actually getting the card? Or are you going to send me this through the app? But why not get rid of museum collection? We don't need museum collection. You got tribute and triple threats. Get rid of museum and give. They're not even in the same aisle of the grocery store, so to speak. Put Bunt out as well. I understand Topps is limited to how many releases they can have, but do away with Topps High Tech because you got Bowman High Tech. Do away with Topps Inception. Do away with something to give the younger, the budget conscious consumers another opportunity to collect. Bunt was one of my favorite products last year.
How about you get rid of opening day then?
Which is repetitive of flagship. It's not necessary.
So would you rather have Bunt over opening day?
Absolutely. And then stick the mascots and some of the other inserts that are featured in opening day. Spread those out like you do Topps Salute and things like that this year, where you have maybe 10 mascots in Series 1 and 10 in Series 2.
Yeah.
Or 5, 5, and 5 or something like that. So it's just, another insert to collect, whatever.
Yeah. Sure. Well, and then they were asked if Topps was for sale, and the GM came out and said at least the sports entertainment division is not, but the confectionery division is in a quote process. So take that as if you will. I mean,
Wrigley's going to buy it.
That or there could be 100 things that they're going. So it'd be very interesting. They're going to release a Topps Transcendent WWE product. And they're not going to have a Transcendent party for this. They're going to take you to WrestleMania. Now, I'm not a big fan of fake wrestling or entertainment wrestling or whatever you want to call it. When I was a kid, I was neat Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake and those guys, British Bulldog,
Mr. Perfect,
Ric Flair.
One thing they didn't mention, and I know they probably don't know yet, but there's no way that can be linear to the price point of baseball. Baseball's $27,000.
Yeah, so they didn't release a price point on it.
Right.
So, it could be $10,000, but if you get the right autos, as long as in there, we'll see. But they were going to release that product. They talked about Topps Chrome updates. They're not going to have any on-card autos this year for Chrome update, but they're trying to get that done for 19. It just has to do with creating the cards in the set and being able to get the autos and packed out.
Set.
What's up?
Well,
trying to get enough Yankees into the set.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it too. We spoke about this last week with the curvature of the cards and the fact that they curl. And then I just said it a little while ago. Gypsy and Heritage and Ginter are such great autograph products. Chrome is not. I mean, yeah, they're beautiful, but they just don't hold as well. And so I don't know if they're going to try to manipulate their technology or,
Yeah. And they also had somebody asked about Juan Soto when his autographs are coming out, and he said they should have an auto in Topps 2018 Topps update. So
well, that product just went by 30 or 40%.
And Joe Simpson comment if he is 19, they need to get a leash on that dude.
They go ahead.
No, it's going to move on to the next topic, but the Braves need to.
Are you still on the topic of the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead then. I don't want to spoil anything and get reprimanded.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get in trouble. So they asked about the Allen and Ginter Wood Minis. Like, where the hell are they? And Topps said they were investigating with the manufacturer of the pack out company, and they were told they were assured those cards were collated into the product, but they said this might not be correct because they should be following one every 10 to 12 cases or so, and they're not following like that. David, the GM, even said he's looking every day on eBay for the cards and not seeing them. It could be a collation issue where they fell into maybe 20 cases and they just haven't surfaced. They haven't surfaced yet, and all of a sudden you're going to get one per pack. If there was an issue with collation, they believe it would have affected other inserts and other autographs in the set. So we'll see. They're not accepting the manufacturer's word on this. They're still looking for. They did get so whenever they do a pack, whenever they pack out product, there's always things left over. There's always some autographs and some relics and some minis and stuff left over because it just works that way with the printing process. They said they have a handful of these wood minis, but they don't have all 350 or all of them that just came back to them.
That was the point I was about to make. So you have 350. Wood Parallel is a one of one, and Topps says that because they have these overages after every product, they have theirs.
Yeah, they have like 10 or so. What he said.
10 or so. He basically said that I don't know where the other 340 are. That's awful curious. We know that there was National Treasures football that had that one case that had all the laundry tags in it. Am I correct on the product?
No, that was last year was baseball.
Yeah, something baseball product.
Was it baseball? Then it was museum then.
Yeah.
I think it was museum.
And the guy opened like what? Like every box had a laundry tag in it.
Yeah, it was a full case of like 12 cards or something, and he had 12 laundry tags, and they're like, well, that's just bad collation. It's like, really? I mean, that's poor quality control. There's no excuse for that. If you have these kind of problems with your manufacturer, you gotta get another manufacturer. I'm sorry. This is absolutely ridiculous.
But I think they addressed that one, especially last year. It said that it was coincidental on their part that it all ended up in one case.
Yeah, sure. What else are you going to say?
Hey, it got screwed up, and it is what it is. I mean, and I understand nowadays it's easier to farm stuff out like that, and people get upset because the manufacturers of these cards, the creators of these cards, are farming the printing work out to somebody else, or the pack collation out to somebody else. But it's a way to keep costs down,
right?
And pay somebody that does this every day.
Anytime you use a third-party logistics, which most big companies do, it's just what it is. It's a packing company that you use because they're automated and they have the logistics set up and they run 24 hours and they store for you on their dime. Okay, I get third-party logistics, but the issue I have with it is here Topps is saying, hey, we're going to be completely transparent. Give me your toughest question. Stefan stands up and goes, hey, what's going on with these wood parallels? And I'm like, man, that's a bad thing. We got our 10. We're good. We're looking into it. That was a fun question.
Right.
All right, Tim, what's your question? And that's it. It's done. There's no follow-up question. There's no, to me, as when I watched it, I was like, okay, well, you kind of skirted the question a little bit. You kind of deflected and go, well, we're going to look into it. Okay, I'm sorry, I bought 10 cases, or if I'm Brent Williams, I bought 50 cases, and he's expecting X amount of wood minis. Where is that? The cost of his product didn't depreciate as a result because they weren't there. He's anticipating these wood minis falling X amount per case. One every 8 cases. I bought 50 cases. I'm expecting 6 or 7 of these. I don't know what they would cost because of course it would depend on what player you'd get. But that's thousands of dollars of revenue that he's not going to get. He's not going to get those return on sales because they weren't there. Tops caught with their pants down. Whoops, sorry, blame the manufacturer. Sorry, Brent. Sorry, next guy. Sorry, next guy.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable to me.
No, and it is. But what are you going to do? I mean, I can see their point. Like, we're going to try everything to find out what's going on with this. We're apologetic, but at this point there's the cat's out of the bag. There's nothing you can go do and go back and fix this.
And if this was the first time, okay. But it's not the first time, and it's definitely not going to be the last time. That's when you start to consider changing your third-party logistic partner and find somebody else who doesn't have this isn't the first time we had your heritage collation issues.
Yeah.
Year in, year out. I mean, this whatever manufacturer they had is obviously not doing a good job when it comes to QC.
Whoever's putting the blasters together for Heritage from 17, those blasters were like 85% the same. The same packs in the same order. I feel like those were the only cards printed for blasters anyway.
Well, yeah, and I bought 3 Heritage blasters a couple years ago, and they had the manufacturer, or maybe it wasn't Heritage, it was Flagship, had the manufacturer relics. I got 3 Reggie Jacksons out of the same store, and I'm like, really? I got a Bryce Harper out of the next store. I'm like, should I go buy those because I'm going to get more Harpers?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know where their pack-out company is based out of, but all of the card product, at least, is printed in the same facility between all of the companies, and all of the paper product itself, what they're printed on, comes from the same company in Minneapolis. At a certain point, there's only so many companies you can go through.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that they can't go to company 2 for pack out.
No, that's absolutely right. And the other thing you can do is you can do a leveraged buyout. You find an investor that has deep enough pockets, and now you own that, which also reduces your margins, and you fix it internally. There's plenty of options at the corporate level without getting too much into the economics aspect of it.
But there's not many people they're gonna want to own a sports card company and do all that extra. You know what I mean? And so that's I can see
who owns the Magic
separate division. It's a separate division. You let them be independent underneath your umbrella. It's actually smart. A lot of major companies end up buying their third-party logistic partners for that very reason, because now it's both in-house and a separate entity, which can always be sold off or leveraged down the road. So I mean, without getting into the business side of things, there's plenty of options. First and foremost, you just give them a 30-day notice. Hey, clean this up if this happens again, because now you're pissing off our customers.
Yeah,
right.
They also talked about apps, and they're going to be releasing an app for on-demand products. They specifically mentioned Topps Now within the next year. They didn't release anything about Topps Living, but I could see that being one as well. And they also were going to do some geo-targeting. So like when you're in MLB Stadium, they could send you offers. So if you had the app and you were logged in, you let it know your location, you're going to get special offers from Topps while being in the stadium to make purchases. So if you're of that team or the team's playing that day. So I just thought it was interesting there, because they also talked about doing apps for all of their other products that they have licenses for, like I know Star Wars has one, but they talked about WWE and the soccer ones they offer. So what's up?
Blood Diamonds. Keep going.
So it's just interesting. I mean, I like to get that view and hear it from the guys that are in it. It's a good watch. It's a quick hour video. You can kind of skim through the giveaways if you want. It comes down to about 35-minute video at that point. So, well, it brings up some other topics that we kind of want to talk about in in the hobby talk here, just a few things that we've seen on Twitter recently that have brought up some good debate. And one of it is and it's been pointed out for Topps, they reuse a lot of photos or images in their products. And, really who's to blame in here? Is it the manufacturer? Is it where they're getting their photos from? Does it have to do with the price of acquiring these photographs, or what they have available? So I wanted to see, first off, I know Ben's got some big thoughts on this, but Steph, what are your thoughts on this issue of like reusing photos over and over again in similar products or year over year?
If you can't find 40 photos of someone who's currently playing with photos being added day by day, for the most part, if you go on Getty and look up a game that you attended, there's going to be like 30, 40 photos. Now, some of them are going to be blurry, and some of them they're not going to be appropriate for a product, and some of them actually, they would have to super crop to find an appropriate photo. But if you can't find a few photos for each player for each set, it's kind of embarrassing. Now, I can understand, using the same Walter Johnson photo in this set and then using it again next year because there's only so many Walter Johnson photos existing. Sure. But for current players, it's really kind of lazy. And I know that at least with Topps, they have the huge license with Getty where they have free range of any of their photos, unlimited usage, the amount of subjects, unlimited usage on the amount of photos just taken from their service. They pay a ton. Use it.
Especially in the digital age. Come on, this is 2018. We're not doing this on Kodaks. We're not developing these in a dark room anymore. Come on. I mean, just sit there and you can snap 40 pictures of, insert player X here of the same game. People aren't even asking for day games and night games and, I need player X in all of the different stadiums throughout the year. No, just a different photo. And if Getty can't provide a better product to Topps again needs to look for a new partner. And without knowing the specifics of the deal and what the cost is on the associated cost on a per picture basis, we don't know. It's lazy. Clay had said in the Q&A that when that question was proposed to him that there's only so many pictures available. Really? Come on. Again, this is the digital age. You just sit there and snap pictures. Even a small variation, collectors will be like, hey, that's lazy, but at least it's different.
Well, I just don't want to go back to the days where if you look back at a lot of the even going back to the 50s and 60s, but it was taught where they were from spring training, right? And they're out in some weird outfield, and in the background's just some empty lot in there, or they're all taken. A lot of them, you can tell what stadium they were taken at, and a lot of them are Oakland and Candlestick.
Sure.
Some of the manufacturers, that's all where they sent their photographer to sit there and take photos at every game at Candlestick, and everybody's in the National League, whereas Candlestick's the background photo, and they're straight on their heritage-like shots, which is good, which is great for heritage, right? Because that's what it's supposed to do. But if for flagship and museum and all these other products, you don't want to have those stills. You want to have a little action in it, and I think that they could do a better job at it if they do have free reign. Make the efforts and pick. Have somebody spend the time to pick out the photos that as you go along. So,
no, I found myself in a conversation about this a few weeks ago, and a month ago maybe, and I found myself by the end of the conversation being a Topps apologist because from the economics side, you're trying to limit costs. And again, if they've got a free reign, then they need to demand more photos to be accessible through Getty. That's where my conversation would be. Hey, I've got 40 products releasing this year. I need at least 40 usable photos of every single major leaguer, at least within reason, because obviously players come up and come down all the time. So I need a constant, a moving, revolving, can't really think of what I'm looking for, but I need more pictures at my disposal than I'm currently allowed. And, if there's an associated cost, though, then Topps might be limited to some degree. And so we don't want to put this just on Topps. Maybe Getty needs to, it's a picture.
Well,
Maybe they need to
the
lower
thing.
their costs.
For the early Donruss and Fleer and even Topps at that point, from the early 80s, you started to notice that there are three basic stadiums in the background. You had Chicago because they could hit the Cubs and the White Sox. They had the California area because you could hit the Dodgers, the Angels, all of the other California teams. And you had New York. You had the Yankees and the Mets. You could send someone realistically to three different areas and hit a good chunk of the teams.
Sure.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying do that, obviously.
You only had 26 teams back then, too, though.
Well, sure. But at the same time, I have a binder, and maybe it's just me, of where it's blatantly obvious that that's at Target Field, but it's not a twin card. I think David Ortiz has one of them where it's blatantly obvious that right in the background you have the Target Field logo.
I like that because he was a twin. They just got rid of him for nothing.
There's a ton of cards that have the A's dugout, which is extremely recognizable. There's that nice, is it from Chrome, I think, the super short print photo variation where Mike Trout's like signing autographs. He's reaching into the...
I think so, yeah.
Reaching up over the dugout, and it's obviously in Oakland because there's the logo. Man, that would be a whole separate collection altogether if I collected cards where the A's stadium is in the background. My dad used to make me collect that stuff in the 80s. I was like, screw this, man. I don't want to have to collect. There's a twin player sliding into second base like in 1989 Upper Deck. And, you have to have that card with your A stuff because Mike Gallego's tagging him out.
You remember that, though? That was a big thing. Like, hey, Jordan's in this photo of Jay Vincent, or there was like, Ripken's in this card, but it's not. It's, somebody else sliding in. It's always like, oh, hey, look, this other star was in this card. Which is cool if you pack pull it. But when you start to obsess over it and have to go searching that stuff, you need help then. Yeah, help. Apparently, I have a 1991 Upper Deck football card with George Brett on it. It's him and Howie Long. And it's not gonna be. It's got George Brett, so it's got to be like -5 cents. Yeah.
So how about that?
Two Hall of Famers there. There's a bunch of issues that we could cover in the. Oh, he pulled up a card here. There you go. That's a Mark McGwire card for all I'm concerned.
Dual signed Kirby Puckett Mark McGwire. I paid $3 for it.
Wow. So you paid that's a pretty good deal.
You overpaid. That'd be worth $70 if it was just McGwire. Kirby Puckett devalues it tremendously.
Oh wow. May he rest in peace. There's a lot of things we want to bring up later about the hobby that could be fixed and have some ideas on. But if you guys have some of those, bring them to our attention. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to share those and speak, our thoughts on those. I think that in general, we talked last week what we really like about the hobby, and these are some nitpicky things I would say, because again, you're still going to buy the product, you're still going to collect the cards, no matter truly what that picture is. Correct?
No, they come from a place.
You're still going to buy those A's cards because it's the A's, right?
These. We don't want anybody to mistake us. These come from a place of passion. These are things. It's our hobby. It's our passion. It's things we want to see improved so that we can enjoy it just a little bit more. We don't expect Topps to go out and all of a sudden renegotiate a deal with Getty because, us three yahoos got on a podcast one night. But
please
it would
feel
be
free
something,
to credit us.
Yeah, it'd be something that, we would like to see. And maybe if we say it enough as a community, one voice, two voices, next thing you know, it's 100, 1,000 voices. Obviously, it's brought to Topps' attention at the National, so it's on their radar. Now we can begin to hold them accountable through our checkbooks and say, hey, listen, we demand this.
But it's not. It's been you're living in a fantasy world that's never going to happen.
Absolutely naive. However, you just have to get the right person in place that might start to listen. And the more you start to speak, if it's not the photos, it might be something else. It might be them bringing back Bunt to go along with Big League. It might just be something super simple like that. It doesn't have to be something as big and life changing as renegotiating a picture deal with their photo and image provider. It could be something small. As long as they're listening, that's a good start.
Well, once a Cub noted that there is a sub collection of cards with Ivy in the background, and also Cub cameos on other teams' cards. And
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. He's got over
awesome.
800 Ivy cards and about 200 plus cameo cards. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting. The Ivy thing's cool. I like that. I mean, the Ivy's unique to Wrigley, like the urine smells unique to the Oakland Coliseum.
Damn right. See, my first thought in that is, what a nerd. 800 of them, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my phone and start looking for one.
Oh, who was the guy that had all the blank fronts they posted this week of their Oakland A's cards?
So full disclosure, last week after the show, Stefan showed me some blank front error cards from the late 80s, and then today I got a shipment of this week I got a shipment of 11 or 12 of them.
Both of you.
There's a printing error from 1989 that had Mark McGuire and Jim Petoris or something on it with a blank front. Got that now. They're kind of neat. They're still A's cards. Sure. To me, it's like, hey, yeah, the Ivy is so iconic. Hey, if you want to have a sub collection of a sub collection of a sub collection, I was there in the 80s. I would collect anything because my dad made me. He's like, hey, that's an A's card as far as I'm concerned.
If you're building the set and you see this, you're going to tell me you're not going to toss it aside for your Twins collection?
That's the difference. For me personally, if I pull it from a pack or if I have it, yeah, I'd keep it. However, if I went on eBay searching for it, that's a different story. So, but hey, I would, anybody that wants to go out and create a subset of cards that feature their favorite players or favorite team or their urine infested stadium, hey, more power to you.
The one thing I would ask Topps before we close out tonight is, you guys remember like the All-Star cards from the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
How good they looked.
Yeah. You're talking about the glossy ones, right? Like the
not just I'm talking about just the insert, or the subset that's in the regular,
like an 89 Topps and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it had just All-Star and whatever.
Right.
I miss those because when I open Update or I have my Update and I go through them and they're all wearing those stupid Monday uniforms that they wear at the Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't use pictures from the next day in the game if you want that. I'm good with that.
Especially a couple years ago when it was in San Diego.
The All-Star across the top.
The San Diego one from a couple years ago and those hideous brown and yellow uniforms. It was like, good God, man.
Like, I understand the relics and that kind of stuff. That's fine, because it's a worn material from that, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that insert and that relic hit, right? But the base cards, come on.
Yeah.
Or the guys they didn't play in the game, maybe they couldn't make it to the injury, and they're holding up the jersey at their home stadium, and it just like
you know what I'd like to see, honestly, with what they do with the Update would be, yes, have your 25-man, 30-man roster times 2, right? Your American, so there's 60 of your cards right off the bat, and have them be, like vintage, something that deciphers them, that shows them as a set within a set, like they did back in the late 80s, and then have the youngsters, the Juan Sotos of the world that may not have had base cards and flagship yet, your September call-ups. And have those be a separate set, and then have all the rest of your Update cards be a third set. So you basically have 3 separate, although similar designs. Because right now, if you just open up a box of Update, they're all just jumbled together. And I'm
fine with that. Like, break it up that way and have the third set be the guys that got traded or whatever, or the guys that just didn't make the first cut or third or second cut in Series 2. But
just a big trade like 1974. That was a great set.
Clean up the All-Star cards. Yeah. That's all I'm asking.
Yes, please.
Make them look cool. Because they're not cool now. They're not.
No, and see, this is where I go back to my comment a bit ago about you said I'm living in a fantasy world. Yeah, probably on the Getty images. Yes, you're right. It's very naive to think that they would just magically change. But this might be something that if we get in the right ear, that they might, whether that's Sue's and marketing.
Just changing the photos. Like, just have better photos.
Yeah.
Just from the next day. Like, come on. And what pissed me off and what they did in top, and I'm sorry to get off on this tangent late here, but when the last few years they made football, some of the rookies were pictures from the combine, and they're wearing like LB 42, and they're in their workout underwear.
Right.
I don't want to see an offensive lineman in his big boobies and his big gut.
Quit lying.
Yeah.
And that, like,
You do want to see that. You want to get that on the 5x7 online exclusive.
and as we leave my fantasy world of a perfect collection and perfect set, we're going to end our show tonight. I do apologize for the little technical issues earlier in the show. We'll be better next week. Again, we're only in episode 8. But we do this for us. We're glad that we have people that like to listen in. We had some good comments this last week. We appreciate you all. We love all the followers, all the mentions, and the tweets. And like I said, every week we do it. It makes us feel good. We're just 3 collectors that want to talk about cards and talk about it in an open, honest way. And I think we try to do that. And we try to bring your perspective, hopefully, each and every week. But we're live every Wednesday here on YouTube at 8 o'clock, West Coast. Make sure to subscribe and review. 10 Central, I guess we'll throw that in. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on YouTube and iTunes and all the platforms, and follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. You can always follow Mr. Ben at R Trading Cards and Stefan at Junkwax Twins, and follow me at Big Chef 79. We're on there quite a bit. I took my phone into the iPhone store real quick this week because I was having some battery issues. They ran the test on my phone. They said, hey, your phone's a year and a half old. Your battery is still at 90%, which is good, but 25% of your battery usage is used on Twitter. So,
hell yeah, it is.
Nothing else was besides podcasts. We're in double figures. Podcasts were like 14%. Everything else was below 5. It's a world we live in, a world we love, a world we love to hate and argue, but it's a necessary evil, I think. And I've met these 2 yahoos through there, and a bunch of you as well. A quick shout out. I didn't send the tweet out, but Jenny Miller sent my son a couple of Giants this week to add to his collection as he turns 4 months old tomorrow. So thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. He does appreciate those, and they will be set aside for him. And fellas, if you don't have anything else, we'll hop out tonight and enjoy the rest of our Wednesday. And we'll see you soon.
Let's do it.
I love you guys.
I love you all. Have a good evening. And again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.